Today we're going to take a look at some of the starfish's external and internal anatomy that's going to get us ready for our dissection that we're going to be doing here this week. This video is going to go along with what we did in class today, so you guys got a sheet of paper and you had to draw a starfish and draw it as big as you can on one side of your paper here. We're going to call one side the oral or the mouth side. And on the other side, we're going to have the aboral, or the top side. So if you're watching this at home and you want to draw along, just go ahead and sketch out a big starfish. And we're going to be doing some labeling together. My suggestion for studying for the quiz, do exactly this. Draw it out, label what you know, and then go back and flip through the slides that are posted on Classroom. Because actually seeing the pictures of the real starfish and not just a drawn picture of it is going to help when we get to the dissection. When we're looking at our starfish, it is going to be in our phylum Echinoderms, which literally means spiny skin. Echino and derm, spiny skin. So we are going to see some spiny skin here on the outside of our starfish. But if we're just going to be starting on the oral side, we're going to do this one first. We need to determine what part of our starfish are we looking at and what structures can help us identify it. With oral, this means mouth, so pretty simple. We are going to see the mouth of the starfish, and it's going to be in the center of those 5 arms. Some other clues that will tell us we are looking at the oral side of our starfish is we are going to see some tube feet that are going to be used for movement. They kind of act like little teeny tiny suckers that can then attach to different surfaces. They use these tube feet to catch their prey. Another really cool thing that tube feet do is they can exchange gases with their environment, so they can take oxygen in and release some of the CO2 out. These tube feet are going to be sitting in what's called the ambulacral groove. So on either side of this groove, we're going to find feet, but we won't find any tube feet in the groove. And that's probably all that we're going to see on this view here. That's going to let us know we're looking at the oral side. Now, if we flip to our aboral side, or the top view, we also have a couple different structures that are going to let us know, hey, this is the top view of our starfish. And one of those structures is called the madreporite. It's going to be lighter in color than the rest of our starfish. And it has a really important job in that it's going to let water enter our starfish, which is going to be really, really important for having the tube feet be useful in locomotion. So it's going to allow those tube feet to move because we're going to use a water pressure system to create that suction cup that will then allow them to stick to different surfaces. Some other things that are going to be noticeable on our aboral view is because we're in echinoderms, we will see spiky skin or spiny skin. So we're going to go ahead and draw some spiny skin here, and we can label this. Sometimes these spines can turn into a pincher that can then be used to remove any organisms that might have gotten on our starfish. And this little pincher is called a pedicellariae. And it may or may not be present in your starfish that you are dissecting. Also on this arm, we're going to go ahead and draw some little itty-bitty skin gills that are going to be sticking up. They're not going to be as long as the spiny skin, but they are going to be pretty important here in exchanging gases, so we don't have to rely on the tube feet to exchange gases. So O2 can come in, CO2 can come out. If we're looking at one of these arms right here, one arm is going to be called a ray. So if we're looking, we have 5 arms on the starfish, or it has 5 rays. On the very tips of these rays, we're also going to see another section that's going to have some lighter pigment to it. And these sections that have lighter pigments are going to be called eye spots. Now, starfish don't have eyes like we have, but instead they have a collection of these photoreceptor cells that can then sense their environment, whether or not they are in the light or the dark. I think this is all that we have for our external anatomy here. We need to do a little bit of dissecting or cutting to see some of this internal anatomy that's going to show the different systems in our starfish. When we go to do our dissection, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut off a tip, including the eye spot. And then if we slide our scissors sideways, we can cut along the arm and we can try to remove some of this top skin to be able to see some of the tissues underneath. Now when we're cutting, we want to cut a circle around the central disc here, but we don't want to cut out the madreporite because we have some other structures that are connected to it that we want to be able to see. So if we remove the skin, underneath the madreporite, which we said was important for tube feet locomotion, because it's going to let water in, this madreporite is then going to lead to the stone canal. And we're just going to kind of trace the flow of water throughout our starfish. This stone canal is going to lead to the ring canal. And from here, the ring canal will lead down the length of the ray to the radial canal. And then we see water is going to enter these little muscle-like structures called an ampulla. That's going to be kind of similar to a pipette bulb. It's going to be able to pull water in and then create that suction for the tube feet here. And it's going to come off of both sides here, and I'm just drawing it on one right now. I'm going to try and draw a better one there for you. We don't see the tube feet on our aboral view. We see it over here on the oral view. So this is just the muscle that's going to pull water up into those feet. And again, this is called an ampulla. Now, if you were with me in class today, you got to learn our fun little song called the Water Vascular System that will help us remember the flow of water throughout our starfish. Go ahead and sing it along with me if you remember it, but for those of you who did not get to hear me sing before, you are in for a treat. This song is really catchy, and I promise it's going to be like your favorite song by the end of this video here. So if we're following water through our starfish, our song goes like this. The madreporite's connected to the stone canal canal's connected to the ring canal's connected to the radial canal's connected to the tube feet, and that's the water vascular system. Sorry for those of you guys watching this video. You couldn't see all of my dance moves, but they are pretty good. Okay, if we're going to stay on this side here, we can add a couple more internal structures. Let's see. Opposite of our ambulacral ridge, or our ambulacral groove where our tube feet sit, we do see an ambulacral ridge. This is going to be a tough structure that is going to be there for support. And our ampullas are actually going to sit on either side of this ridge connected to the tube feet here. So these are just little teeny tiny ampullas. So this ridge is going to be here for support. And the ampullas are on either side of this ridge, which makes sense if we're looking here with our ambulacral groove. This is opposite of the ridge, and then on either side of this groove we see the tube feet. So that's where those ampullas are going to be attached to. Back on our aboral side, some other structures that we have for support are called ossicles. This is going to be part of the endoskeleton. It's going to be visible when we cut the skin and fold the skin back. It's attached to the skin. Our endoskeleton is going to be attached to muscle, so it's a little bit different than our system, but it's still going to provide our starfish with support. A couple more things that we can add. When we first cut into our starfish, the very first thing that we are going to see are digestive glands. And I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 digestive glands that are going to go down each of these arms here. Typically these are going to be rather large and in the way, and to see other structures we're going to have to get these digestive glands out of the way. We can use our forceps or a probe, or we can even just use our fingers and scoop them out. Once we remove these digestive glands, we may be able to see some gonads. Now, depending on whether or not our starfish is in the mating season, it may have very pronounced gonads. If it's not in the mating season, these gonads are going to be much smaller and not as obvious to us. Typically, we see they're going to be closer towards the madreporite, not towards the eye spot. I'm going to use a different color here, and I'm going to draw them near our digestive glands. We're just going to draw some little circles going down in here. And once we get those digestive glands out of the way, we should be able to see some gonads. And that's going to be used for reproduction. Not that you can really tell that's a different color in the video at home, but it should work. Alright, we're going to flip over, because we're getting pretty busy here, to our oral side, and we can draw a couple more things that go along with our digestive glands here. We won't see it from this view, but we can kind of follow our digestive track back from the mouth. So our mouth is going to be connected to a stomach, so we're going to have this stomach behind it. Something that's really cool about the stomach is it can extend from its body and start to digest its prey. And then it has a second stomach on the inside then, where it's going to further break down these nutrients before it's then going to be passed to these digestive glands running down the length of our arm here of our starfish. And I'm just going to draw these digestive glands coming from our stomach here. But just know we're not going to see them from the oral view. We're only going to see them from the aboral view. And I think that's all that we really need to add to our picture for our quiz that we're going to be taking tomorrow. Again, like I said, best way to study, just get a blank sheet of paper and draw out what you know. Write yourself a list. Hey, I need to include this. What does this look like? Your quiz is going to be a diagram already drawn for you, and you just have to label a couple different structures and know what the functions are going to be. If you want to come in and study with me, we're going to have a review session at 7:45 a.m. Hope to see you there.